Okay, guys, just want to give you guys a little bit of an update here. It's been kind of hard to predict things over the past 2 years. As you know, we've seen some crazy market stuff, changes with interest rates and demand and all these things. So I wanted to kind of sum this up of what's happening now and try to give you as much of an accurate prediction of what I think is going to happen in 2023 in the short term, pending any sort of economic collapse or major change or something. Going back historically, looking at the last 2 years, things are very, very local. Okay. So any articles you're reading, if you want to find an article that says the market's going to crash, you can find it. If you want to find an article that says there's not going to be enough houses for our kids to ever buy a house, you can find it. So there's too much conflicting information out there because people are trying to be, there's shock factor articles, right? But just know that everything is very, very local now, where if you're reading a national statistic or a national number, it's probably not going to be as accurate of information as if you look at the local piece, okay? It may not actually reflect what's happening in your market. We're in the Midwest here, and I would go all the way down to the county, okay? From Cook County to Lake County could be different, but definitely the state, okay? I wouldn't go much broader than the state because that seemed to be what was happening. Over the past 2 years, really sought after places like Florida, Carolinas, Texas, etc. saw major increases in demand and therefore pricing. And it was crazy stuff. Okay. I'm talking 10% over list price. I hate when people use numbers, by the way. It's $100,000 over list price. Okay. Was that a $200,000 house or was that a $3 million house? So use percentages. Okay. It's more accurate. They were seeing 10% over list price oftentimes. They were seeing sellers try to cancel contracts that they entered into weeks ago because in just a couple weeks, their price had gone up. Their value of their property had gone up so much that they wanted to try to cancel the offer that they accepted and get somebody else to pay more. And it was happening. So we're seeing 10% increases, just in days and weeks, not over an entire year span. And so those places, okay, are going to see a much harsher decrease in their pricing. Where here, we didn't see as much of an increase like they did. We saw an increase, which is where everybody saw an increase over the past 2 years nationwide. But the places that saw less of an increase are going to see less of a decline. Okay. Also, we happen to be in the fall winter time right now, which historically is a low point or the beginning of the low point to the winter. And so it's really hard to tell if we're seeing any sort of price decrease and increase in market times because of interest rates or if it's just a normal cyclical thing. And again, I really don't know the answer to that. I'm going to guess that it's more cyclical, and here's why. We are seeing just a little bit of a dip in prices and a little bit of an increase in market time. Not a ton, nothing to freak out about. And if you look historically, we see the same dip every single year. It starts to go down after June, July, and then starts to go back up January, February. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Nothing out of the ordinary if you look historically. The only difference is the number is higher, right? So we still have an average price right now of September's numbers. Still, average price is much higher than it was last September and even higher than it was in, I want to say, January, February this year. So just know that everything is very local. We're also seeing a little bit of a dip due to timing in general, nothing to freak out about. And then the interest rate piece, I think there's a fallacy going on with the way you are looking at interest rates, or a lot of the public is looking at interest rates, right? So they're looking at houses that sold in January, February of 2022 for, let's say, a high price of, let's say, $600,000 as an example. And then the rates went from 2.5 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6, whatever. Now we're hovering around 7, just below 7. And they're thinking, well, why would I pay $600,000 for that house now that the rates have gone up? That seller needs to lower their price. That's not fair, right? But you can't compare the lowering of the price to what it was before. You have to imagine the prices continued to increase and rates never went up. What would that house be worth right now? So would that $600,000 house be worth 7? Because buying it for $600,000 now is probably a pretty accurate number. I hope you are following me here. They're comparing what the house sold for when rates were low 10 months later, right? So what happened then? And if the rates never went up, what would that house have been worth? Probably $700,000 now. The demand was super high. Inventory was super low, still is relatively low, like really relatively low. and that house would have gone up in value. And so for you to buy it now at 600 is actually a deal, if that makes sense, because it's the same price it was 10 months ago, even though, right? So the market did go down from what it would have been. That was the point of the interest rates increasing, is to curb the inflation of pricing, right? So if you're buying a $600,000 house now and the neighbor sold for $600,000, same exact house back in February, January of this year, that is a fair, quote unquote, fair price. Now it may not be, right? Like the house might be different or whatever. So I'm not getting into specifics. Just in theory, remember that you can't decrease the price of what was. You have to decrease the price of what would have been. Okay, so that's what the interest rates are there for, to stop the spending. And so if you're getting the same price house from February to now, that's probably accurate. Okay, getting into that now, okay, what's happening in the market, houses are sitting when they're outdated, plain and simple. Okay, people are a little bit more cautious now. They're what I was just describing is a true buyer feeling. Why am I paying the same price as I would have paid in February if rates have gone up? So that is a little bit of a battle that I'm fighting with some of my buyers, but I'm not saying that they should be happy with 600. We'll still negotiate, but it's very specific to what the product is now. Okay. Is this house updated? Does it need a new roof in the next year? What about the furnace and the HVAC? Like, what are we talking about on this house? It has to come down to the specifics. We can't just say, oh, there's low inventory, or oh, there's high inventory, or oh, supply and demand. Like, these things are too general. You have to get into the micro to really understand what your house is going to sell for. And the more your house is updated, the more it will sell for. The buyers did not disappear. The demand did not just disappear. Those people are still out there. They're either renting or they're buying. They have to have somewhere to live, right? So they're still there. We're going to see a regular market in the spring. When I say regular, I mean it's not going to go super high. It's not going to crash. Okay. The updated houses will sell for a premium, and the outdated house will sell as soon as buyers feel comfortable with the purchase price and the amount of money they need to renovate or fix whatever's broken and still have a little bit of equity. Okay. If you need a $50,000 kitchen and that's the only thing in your house, and the neighbor's updated house sold for $500,000, yours is the same, but it needs a new kitchen and it's worth $50,000, then you need to sell at probably $440,000 to give those buyers $50,000 worth of kitchen upgrades and still a little bit of room before they feel comfortable purchasing, right? If you're already upgraded and already updated and everything is dialed in, you're going to get a good price for your house. Okay. So that's kind of what's going on right now. Things are low. Things are super, super local, down to the county even. Interest rates, don't expect the house prices to come down in the Midwest. Okay, expect them to stay stagnant, come down maybe 1 or 2%, and then they're going to go right back up in the spring is my prediction, because I still think there's a lot of buyers out there who want to move, and there's a lot of sellers who are trying to sell, whether it's downsizing or upsizing, and the interest rates have not priced enough people out of the market. They're just being more cautious about what they're purchasing and how updated those houses are. So try to dial in your house. If you need help with that, with design work, I can help you with what you should be updating, how to update it, the style. I work with people who are designers so that we can make sure that and I work with a lot of buyers, so I know what buyers are looking for anyway, but we'll make sure we're doing the right things and spending money the right way. And then also Compass has an awesome program called Compass Concierge, where we can actually throw you, I think it's up to like $25,000 before you list, so long as you pay it back later. But it's interest-free money that you can use to work on your house. And it doesn't have to be all 25. You could spend $1,000 on a vanity if you want. Interest-free money, don't have to pay out of pocket until you close. We get that money back. So that's a really good program. If you're short on cash and you want to do some upgrades to the house before you sell, this is perfect timing. We're in the fall, we're in the winter, get ready for spring. If you just need help in general and you're doing some stuff, let me know. Happy to come out, take a look, give you some advice on what to do. And then same thing with photos. We got to take photos now, because otherwise your house is going to look like crap in March. It won't look good until end of April. So take a picture of your house and let me know if you guys are interested in selling. I can help you with the design piece. And if you want to use this Compass Concierge program, we can talk more about that too. Thanks for listening, guys.